Success is built on focus and discipline, not luck or talent, because the foundation of real achievement is created in the unseen moments when no one is watching, when distractions are screaming for your attention and when your emotions try to convince you to settle. It is in those quiet internal battles that winners separate themselves from the world and from who they used to be. Luck may open a door once in a while, but without the discipline to walk through it prepared and the focus to stay aligned with your purpose, that opportunity fades just as quickly as it appears. Focus sharpens your vision and filters out everything that does not contribute to your growth. When you learn to direct your attention like a laser, you stop scattering your energy across meaningless tasks and begin pouring it into actions that create tangible progress. Discipline then becomes the force that keeps you anchored in that direction, especially when motivation runs out. Because success rarely arrives during moments of inspiration, it arrives through the grind, through repetition, through the willingness to show up even when you don't feel like it. Talent can make you good, but discipline is what makes you great. Many people are gifted, but very few are willing to refine that gift through consistent effort. The world is full of talented individuals who never reached their potential because they relied on natural ability instead of building the habits that success demands. Discipline turns potential into power, and focus ensures that power is aimed at the right target. Every distraction you overcome becomes a step toward the person you are becoming. Every time you tell yourself no to something that doesn't serve your future, you build a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Focus is not just about attention, it's about intention. It's choosing every day to align your time, energy, and thoughts with the vision you have for your life, even when circumstances try to pull you in another direction. Success grows in the soil of small, consistent decisions. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep in. It's studying one more hour when your mind is tired. It's practicing your craft when no applause is waiting. These silent disciplines build momentum over time, and momentum, once created, can take you farther than talent ever could on its own. Momentum is the reward of those who stay focused long enough to earn it. The truth is that most people never experience extraordinary success because they chase quick results instead of committing to long-term improvement. Discipline asks for patience, and focus asks for clarity. When you have both, you stop looking for shortcuts and start embracing the process. The process becomes your teacher, your strength, and ultimately the pathway to everything you desire. There will always be challenges that test your commitment. There will be days when progress seems invisible and days when nothing works the way you planned. But it's in these moments that discipline becomes your anchor. Discipline doesn't care about your mood, it cares about your mission. And focus allows you to see past temporary setbacks so you can keep your eyes fixed on the outcome you're moving toward. As you grow in focus, you begin to value your time differently. You stop entertaining conversations and habits that drain your energy. You begin to prioritize what truly matters because distractions no longer feel appealing. They feel expensive. You realize that every moment you waste is a moment taken from your future, and that awareness alone strengthens your commitment to stay disciplined. Mastery in any field is the result of thousands of repetitions, not occasional bursts of effort. Discipline ensures that you show up for those repetitions, and focus ensures that each action is performed with intention rather than obligation. Together, they create a compound effect that turns average effort into extraordinary results. Over time, others will call it talent, but you'll know it was the product of unwavering commitment. When you truly understand that success is not an accident, you stop waiting for the right moment and start creating it. You stop relying on external circumstances and begin building the internal strength required to rise. Focus gives you direction, discipline gives you traction, and together they carve a path that luck could never lead you to. Alignment creates elevation because when your actions, intentions, and beliefs all move in the same direction, you stop fighting against yourself and start rising with clarity and purpose. Most people want to move forward, but their habits are pulling them backward. Their mindset is contradicting their goals, and their environment is working against their growth. Elevation begins the moment you bring your life into harmony, when what you do daily finally supports who you want to become. That internal agreement generates power, and that power lifts you towards your next level. When you align with your purpose, you no longer waste energy on things that drain you or distract you. You start recognizing what fits your future and what does not. You start choosing environments that feed your ambition, relationships that inspire your growth, and routines that build your strength. Alignment simplifies your journey because it removes the chaos of conflicting priorities. You begin to walk with more confidence, not because everything is easy, but because everything is intentional. Elevation is not achieved by chance. It is built by consistent alignment with your values and vision. Every decision becomes a declaration of who you are becoming. Every habit becomes a vote for your future. When your inner world and outer actions match, your progress accelerates because you are no longer divided within yourself. You move with unity, and unity creates unstoppable momentum. Distraction loses its pull when alignment becomes your standard. You stop chasing every opportunity, every opinion, and every moment of temporary excitement. You begin protecting your energy because you understand its value. You no longer feel the need to impress others or prove yourself because alignment gives you peace that comes from knowing you are living true to your calling. That peace becomes the foundation on which elevation builds. When you live in alignment, your decisions become clearer. You stop overthinking because you finally have direction. You stop hesitating because your spirit, your mind, and your actions are moving in the same rhythm. And with clarity comes confidence. The confidence to say yes to what supports your purpose and no to what sabotages it. That confidence increases your capacity to rise higher than you ever thought possible. Elevation requires honesty, and alignment is the result of that honesty. You must be willing to admit what no longer serves you, what you must let go, and what you need to step into. You cannot elevate while holding on to old patterns that keep you grounded. Alignment forces you to confront the habits, people, and mindsets that prevent you from rising. And it gives you the courage to release your potential expands when your identity aligns with your goals. You stop approaching your dreams as if they belong to someone else and start acting like the future you want is already yours. This shift in identity changes how you show up, how you speak, how you think, and how you work. When you become aligned with the powerful version of yourself, elevation becomes the natural outcome. Consistency becomes easier when you are aligned because you no longer have to fight through resistance created by confusion or contradiction. Your actions feel purposeful instead of forced. You move with intention instead of pressure. Alignment creates internal order, and internal order produces external progress. You become someone who moves forward not out of obligation, but out of conviction. Opportunity begins to recognize aligned people. Doors open for those who are ready, focused, and prepared. Alignment attracts the right connections, the right timing, and the right resources because you are finally operating at a frequency that matches your destiny. You no longer chase elevation. Elevation comes toward you because you are positioned for it. With alignment, life starts to rise beneath your feet. You begin to outgrow environments that once felt comfortable. You begin to feel a pull towards something greater, something deeper, something more aligned with who you truly are. And as you keep adjusting your actions to match that pull, elevation becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Working hard on the right things multiplies results because effort alone is not enough if it is misplaced, scattered, or driven by urgency rather than strategy. Many people think more hours automatically equal more progress, but real momentum comes from directing your energy toward the actions that actually move your life forward. When you focus on the essentials, the tasks align with your purpose, your growth, and your long-term goals, you begin to experience a level of progress that feels exponential rather than incremental. It's not about doing everything, it's about doing what matters most with full commitment. When you identify the right things to work on, you eliminate the noise that steals your time and drains your motivation. You stop being busy for the sake of looking productive and start becoming intentional about every decision you make. Working hard becomes powerful when it becomes targeted. It becomes the kind of effort that compounds, the kind that builds skills, deepens understanding, and positions you for levels of success you once thought were out of reach. You start realizing that small, consistent actions aimed in the right direction create more growth than large amounts of effort scattered in all directions. The right work produces a different kind of reward, one that feels meaningful, sustainable, and aligned with your purpose. You begin to see the connection between your daily habits and your long-term vision, and that clarity fuels you. You stop chasing shortcuts because you understand that strategic effort always outperforms blind hustle. Every hour you invest becomes a seed planted in the soil of your future, and the more aligned those seeds are with your goals, the more abundant the harvest becomes. When you work hard on the right things, you reduce internal conflict. You no longer question whether your time is being wasted, whether your actions are significant, or whether you're moving in the right direction. There is a sense of peace that comes from knowing your energy is building something meaningful. This peace strengthens your consistency because you no longer rely on motivation to keep going. You rely on purpose, and purpose is far more powerful. Working hard on the right things also increases your confidence. You begin to see progress in areas that matter to you. You feel yourself becoming more capable, more skilled, more resilient. This confidence doesn't come from external validation, but from the internal proof that your effort is producing growth. Confidence built through purposeful work becomes unshakable because it is grounded in action rather than emotion. The right work accelerates learning. When your effort is aligned with your vision, every challenge becomes a lesson and every setback becomes a stepping stone. You start understanding your craft on a deeper level, developing mastery that shortcuts cannot produce. Mastery multiplies results because it allows you to accomplish more with less effort over time. What once felt difficult becomes your new normal, and what once required struggle becomes routine. Working hard on the right things strengthens your discipline because it gives you a reason to stay consistent. When you see meaningful progress, it becomes easier to resist distractions and stay dedicated. Discipline grows naturally when your effort feels purposeful rather than forced. You become someone who doesn't just work hard when motivated. You work hard because you understand the value of the path you're on. Your environment also begins to shift when you focus on the right things. You attract opportunities aligned with your effort. You draw in people who share your vision. You create momentum that others can see and respect. The world responds differently to someone who is working with clarity and intention. Opportunities that once seemed distant begin to feel within reach because your effort is preparing you for them. The right work makes you more efficient. You start recognizing patterns, eliminating unnecessary steps, and refining your process. Your productivity increases not because you are working more, but because you are working smarter. Efficiency multiply. Results because it frees up time and energy that can be reinvested into even higher level actions. This creates a cycle of constant improvement where each step forward becomes the foundation for the next. When you work hard on the right things, you unlock the power of compounding effort. Each day builds upon the last, each skill strengthens another, and each decision elevates your future. Results begin to expand beyond what you expected because focused effort always multiplies more than scattered energy ever could. Greatness requires intentional sacrifice because nothing extraordinary is built on convenience, comfort, or ease. The path to becoming someone exceptional demands that you give up pieces of who you used to be so you can step into who you are meant to become. It asks you to release habits that keep you average, environments that keep you small, and excuses that keep you stagnant. Sacrifice is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the process of clearing out everything that cannot travel with you to the next level of your life. Intentional sacrifice means choosing long-term reward over short-term pleasure. It means waking up early when your body wants rest, studying when your mind wants distraction, and training when your emotions want comfort. Greatness grows in these moments of discipline, where your decisions reflect your future rather than your feelings. Every sacrifice you make becomes a silent investment in your destiny. And over time, those investments compound into something powerful. What you give up determines what you rise into. If you sacrifice procrastination, you gain momentum. If you sacrifice fear, you gain courage. If you sacrifice laziness, you gain progress. This exchange is constant, and it is the reason greatness cannot be achieved without sacrifice. You must be willing to let go of who you are now to become the person capable of carrying the weight of your calling. Elevation demands evolution, and evolution demands letting go. Sacrifice is the filter that separates dreamers from achievers. Many people want success, but very few are willing to give up distractions, comfort, and temporary pleasures to pursue something greater. Those who rise are not always the smartest or most talented. They are the ones who chose discipline over convenience and purpose over comfort. They understand that sacrifice is not loss. It is the cost of becoming exceptional. Greatness requires saying no more than you say yes. It requires declining opportunities that don't align with your mission, even when they look tempting. It requires creating boundaries that protect your time, energy, and focus. It requires walking away from people who limit your vision, conversations that drain your ambition, and habits that weaken your potential. These sacrifices may feel difficult, but they create the space needed for your true purpose to unfold. Sacrifice strengthens your character. It builds resilience, patience, and mental toughness. When you learn to delay gratification, you break the cycle of impulsiveness that holds so many people back. Your mind becomes sharper, your decisions become clearer, and your discipline becomes stronger. Over time, you begin to trust yourself differently because you have proven through your sacrifices that you are committed to the future you want. Intentional sacrifice also brings clarity. As you let go of what no longer serves you, you begin to see your path with new focus. You begin to understand who you want to become and what it will take to get there. You start choosing habits that elevate you rather than entertain you. You begin prioritizing growth over comfort and purpose over pleasure. This clarity becomes the compass that guides your journey. Every sacrifice you make becomes a messa. GE to your future that you are serious about becoming the person you envision. It shifts your identity and expands your capacity. You start realizing that the things you give up were smaller than what you gained. Progress becomes more meaningful because you know it was earned through discipline and intention. Sacrifice teaches you to value your elevation, not take it for granted. The road to greatness is not crowded because it requires sacrifices most people are unwilling to make. It demands time, effort, consistency, and a willingness to outgrow everything that limits your potential. But those who choose to sacrifice intentionally discover a version of themselves that is stronger, wiser, and more capable than they imagined. Their sacrifices become stepping stones that carry them toward their highest level. Greatness does not appear suddenly. It is built slowly through thousands of choices to sacrifice comfort for purpose. Each sacrifice shapes you, strengthens you, and pushes you closer to the life you are striving for. It is through these deliberate acts of discipline that you rise above the ordinary and begin stepping into your true potential. You don't need permission to pursue your purpose because the calling in your spirit was not given to anyone else to validate, approve, or understand. Too many people stay stuck waiting for someone to acknowledge their potential, praise their efforts, or confirm their direction, not realizing that purpose is a personal assignment. No one else has lived your story, carried your struggles, or felt the pull in your heart the way you have. That means no one else is qualified to authorize your next step. The moment you stop waiting for approval, you begin stepping into the future that already belongs to you. Purpose becomes powerful when you decide to own it fully. You stop shrinking your dreams to fit other people's expectatio and start expanding your actions to match your inner vision. People may not get it, they may not support it, they may even question it, but their confusion is not your barrier. Your purpose was given to you, not to the crowd. You cannot expect people who have never walked your path to understand the direction you're heading. Pursuing your purpose requires the courage to move forward, even when the world is silent. When you stop depending on permission, you take back your authority. You recognize that every step forward is a choice you make, not a vote you need. You begin trusting your instincts, your ideas, and your abilities with a confidence that cannot be dictated by others. Permission is passive, but purpose is powerful. The moment you decide to rely on your inner conviction instead of external validation, your progress accelerates because you're no longer waiting. You're moving. You don't need a committee to confirm what you already know within. Purpose is often misunderstood because it doesn't always make sense in the beginning. It leads you into unfamiliar territory, stretches your limits, and pushes you into uncomfortable growth. But that discomfort is proof that you're stepping into something bigger than yourself. Others may doubt it, but doubt from others is nothing compared to clarity within your own soul. Your purpose is not meant to be watered down for the comfort of the people around you. When you pursue your purpose without asking for permission, you learn to value your own voice. You start making decisions based on conviction instead of fear. You start taking action without waiting for applause. You start becoming someone who leads instead of someone who asks. Purpose gives you direction, and direction gives you confidence. The more you lean into that confidence, the more unstoppable you become on your journey. You have to understand that people, always have opinions, but their opinions cannot build your future. Many will try to limit your potential because they are limited by their own. Many will project fears because they are governed by their own. If you wait for consensus, you will never move. Pursuing your purpose requires breaking free from the expectations that others try to place on you, not out of rebellion, but out of responsibility to your calling. Every time you choose your purpose over permission, you strengthen your identity. You start becoming the person your future needs you to be: bold, focused, resilient, and committed. You begin walking with a different posture because you are no longer weighed down by the need to be accepted. Acceptance becomes irrelevant because your mission becomes greater than your insecurities. When you know why you're moving, you no longer worry about who approves. Your purpose will always require a level of independence, not isolation, but independence. The ability to stand firm in your conviction, even when the crowd is uncertain. You begin creating your own opportunities, setting your own standards, and defining your own path. This independence becomes a weapon against doubt, because you learn that your progress is determined by your decisions, not someone else's permission. When you stop waiting for permission, you begin living with a freedom that allows you to grow without limits. You stop apologizing for your ambition. You stop dimming your light to keep others comfortable. You stop holding back your potential because someone else doesn't recognize it. This freedom clears space for creativity, courage, and action. 3 ingredients that shape a purposeful life. You don't need permission because you were created with everything you need to start becoming who you were meant to be. Your gifts, your instincts, your ideas, your resilience, all of it was placed inside for a reason. Your job is not to wait for approval, but to activate what has already been given. When you finally accept that the only authorization you ever needed is your own decision, you step into a level of boldness that transforms not only your path, but your entire identity. Your breakthrough depends on daily action because transformation is built in the quiet, consistent moments that most people overlook. It's not the grand gestures or the rare bursts of motivation that change your life. It's the small, intentional steps you choose to take every single day. Every action becomes a brick, and over time, those bricks form the path that leads you toward your breakthrough. Progress doesn't happen all at once. It accumulates layer by layer through repeated effort. Daily action creates momentum, and momentum is the force that carries you through resistance, doubt, and setbacks. When you show up repeatedly, your mind starts to believe in your direction, your confidence grows, and your discipline strengthens. Each day you take action, you send a message to yourself that you are committed to your growth. Consistency isn't glamorous, but it is powerful because it builds the kind of internal strength that lasts. Breakthroughs don't show up for the inconsistent. They appear for the ones who stay in motion even when the results seem invisible. Most people give up too soon because they mistake silence for failure, not realizing that progress is happening beneath the surface long before it becomes visible. Action is the signal that tells your future you're serious. When you keep moving, even in small ways, your breakthrough has no choice but to meet you at the level of your persistence. Daily action also trains your mind to focus on what you can control instead of what you can't. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating opportunities through movement. Every step forward, no matter how small, builds confidence. Confidence builds confidence, and confidence fuels even more action. This cycle becomes the engine that drives you toward your breakthrough, turning intention into reality. When you commit to daily action, you become a different version of yourself. You develop habits that support your goals rather than sabotage them. You start operating with discipline instead of emotion. You begin setting standards that keep you accountable. Over time, this consistency shapes your identity, and once your identity shifts, your results follow. Breakthroughs require a version of you that daily action helps you become. Daily action sharpens your skills. It forces you to learn, adapt, and improve because repetition exposes your weaknesses and strengthens your strengths. With each day you practice, study, build, or refine, you become more capable. Capability leads to mastery, and mastery is one of the fastest paths to breakthrough. Nothing changes your life faster than becoming exceptional at what you do, and that only happens through repeated effort. Taking action daily quiets fear. When you stay still, fear grows louder. When you move, fear loses its power because action focuses your mind on progress rather than doubt. You stop imagining worst-case scenarios and start creating real results. Fear thrives on inactivity, but confidence thrives on movement. Every day you take action, you weaken the voice that tries to hold you back. Daily action also compounds in ways you don't expect. One small improvement today leads to a larger improvement tomorrow. One completed task inspires another. One disciplined moment builds a more disciplined lifestyle. Over time, these small gains stack into something massive, something undeniable, something that feels like a breakthrough but was actually the result of hundreds of unnoticed efforts. Your breakthrough requires patience, and daily action teaches you how to be patient without being passive. You learn to trust the process while still pushing the pace. You learn to embrace effort even when results lag behind. This combination of patience and persistence creates the perfect environment for breakthroughs to occur because you remain committed long enough for your effort to bear fruit. Your breakthrough depends on daily action because greatness is not built in a day. It's built daily. The future you want is shaped by the choices you make each morning, each afternoon, each evening. It's shaped by your willingness to keep moving, keep trying, keep improving. Breakthroughs don't appear randomly. They appear for those who refuse to stop showing up.